Some nights, music is just music. Other nights, it becomes surgery. Prince didn't know Jason Collins. Didn't know he'd lost everything. Couldn't have guessed that this man hurling insults from his club floor was seconds away from walking into traffic after the show. All Prince knew was rage. And maybe he noticed something else. Something familiar inside the poison. As security moved to intervene, Prince stopped them. Extended his legendary guitar. And asked a question that split the room in two: "Why are you so angry?" What followed wasn't a song. It was a rescue operation. July 22, 1991. Glam Slam, Minneapolis. Prince's own kingdom. A place where the purple lights never dimmed, where the dress code was surprise me. If you remember when MTV actually played music videos, you remember Glam Slam. Not just as a venue, but as a pilgrimage site. The brick walls were sweating from stage heat. Smoke machines painted every silhouette with halos. The scent of leather jackets mixed with expensive perfume and cheap beer. At the back of the club, at the bar where ice melted faster than drinks, a man was unraveling. His name was Jason Collins. Friends used to call him Red back when friends still called. He'd worked backstage for 20 years. Studio technician. Bass guitar wiring specialist. The kind who made stars sound good but never heard applause. But on July 22, Red wasn't thinking about wiring. He was thinking about endings. The job that ended 3 months ago. The marriage that ended 2 weeks ago. And the one ending he could still control: walking into traffic after this drink. The whiskey had done its job. Red's vision blurred at the edges, like stage lights blurring when he was tired. 6 empty glasses. 7? He'd stopped counting when Prince took the stage. When Prince smiled, something broke. That easy, famous smile. Red stood up. Stumbled. Found his voice, the voice he'd buried for 20 years. "You're just a self-absorbed star." The music stuttered. Heads turned. Security moved. "Prove you're a real musician." 300 faces pivoted like sunflowers to the sun. The purple spotlight caught the spit flying from Red's mouth. The bass line died mid-note. 2 security guards, built like SUVs, were cutting through the crowd. Hands reaching. Radios crackling. Standard protocol: remove, ban, forget. But Prince raised his left hand. Just that. Palm open. 5 fingers saying more than any radio could. Stop. The room held its breath. Someone's drink glass froze mid-journey to their lips. A woman's cigarette ash grew forgotten, an inch long. Prince leaned into the microphone, his voice soft as velvet over broken glass. "If you know real music, come up here. This stage doesn't belong to me. It belongs to anyone with the soul to stand on it." He took off his guitar. The legendary Hohner Mad Cat copy, the one he played in Purple Rain. The scratches on the body spelled out a decade of sweat and sound. He extended it like a priest offering communion. But what followed wasn't about music. It was about Prince seeing something no one else could see. Recognition. Because Prince had stood where Red was standing. Not drunk. Not in a club. But drowning just the same. Red's legs didn't want to cooperate. The stairs to the stage were as challenging as Everest. Someone, maybe a bartender, maybe God, pushed from behind. The stage lights hit him like something physical. Heat and judgment in equal measure. He could smell his own whiskey sweat. Could hear his pulse in his ears, louder than the crowd's murmur. Prince stood 3 steps away, extending that guitar like a life preserver thrown to a drowning man. Red took the guitar. It was heavier than he remembered. Or maybe he was weaker. It had been 20 years since he'd held an instrument, one that wasn't broken, wasn't waiting for a soldering iron to repair someone else's dream. "Purple Rain," Prince said softly, stepping back to his keyboard. "No rush, Red. We've got all night." Red's fingers found the opening riff. Or tried to. The notes came out muffled, wrong. Half a tone flat, then sharp, then just chaos. The crowd shifted. Someone laughed. Then caught themselves. This was going to be a disaster. A viral video before viral videos. Poor drunk bastard about to be humiliated on Prince's own stage. But Prince didn't stop him. Didn't take back the guitar. Instead, his fingers found the keyboard. Soft chords beneath Red's broken notes, appearing like a net under a falling trapeze artist. The drummer caught Prince's eye, nodded, added a gentle rhythm. Prince leaned into his microphone. "Keep going, Red. We'll catch you." The purple lights warmed. The crowd's tension cracked like ice. Someone, a woman up front, mascara already running, whispered to her friend, "Oh my God. He's really doing this." Red didn't know it yet, but Prince had recognized something in that broken performance. A reflection of what he'd been trying to escape for 20 years. For 5 seconds, an eternity in a nightclub, there was no sound. No clinking glasses. No whispers. Even the ventilation system seemed to hold its breath. Red's knees buckled. Not dramatically. Just gave up. He sat on the stage, legs crossed like a child at story time, Prince's guitar sliding from his lap. His voice came out like sandpaper. "I lost my job." The words began falling like dominoes. 20 years. Studio technician. Bass guitar wiring specialist. A bitter laugh. "You wouldn't even know that's a job. Nobody knows. That's the whole point." Pause. "They said digital was the future. Said they didn't need me anymore." Longer pause. 2 weeks later, my wife said the same thing. Tears now, carving through 3 months of unwashed grief. His hands still gripping the mic stand, like it was the only solid thing left in the universe. "You want to know why I'm so angry?" Red looked up, straight into Prince's eyes for the first time. "Because nobody hears me anymore. 20 years I made people sound perfect. Fixed their mistakes. Cleaned their noise. And nobody ever asked my name." A woman in the crowd, 50s, office clothes, still wearing a name tag on her jacket sleeve, started crying. She knew exactly what Red meant. 300 people. Nobody moved. The bartender at the back door paused mid-pour. The bouncer at the entrance pulled his hand from his radio. This wasn't entertainment anymore. It was witnessing. Prince put down his microphone. Stepped away from his keyboard. Walked across the stage, 4 steps that felt like crossing a canyon. And knelt beside Red. Didn't crouch. Knelt. One knee on the stage floor, purple leather pants creaking. The stage lights cast their shadows on the brick wall as a single bent shape. Red's broken posture. Prince's perfect stillness. 2 men on opposite ends of fame doing the same thing, trying not to drown. Prince wrapped his arms around Red. Not a side hug. Not a back pat. A full, human embrace. The kind that says, "I see you breaking. I've broken too." Red's shoulders shook. 20 years of invisible labor. 3 months of free fall. 2 weeks of silence. All of it coming out in muffled sobs against Prince's sequined shoulder. Prince spoke, quiet enough that only Red in the front row could hear. "Let go of the pride, brother. Everyone falls. What matters is who stands beside you when you try to get up. I'm standing beside you." The crowd erupted. Not applause. Something rawer. A standing ovation that felt like a collective exhale. People weren't applauding his show. They were witnessing mercy. If you were there that night, and hundreds claim they were, though the club only held 300, you still feel it. That moment when music became something bigger than sound. October 1991. Same club. Different night. The purple lights still pulsed. The brick walls still sweated. But something in Glam Slam's DNA had shifted. Backstage, in the forest of cables behind the amplifiers, a pair of hands moved with practical precision. Soldering iron smoke curled toward the beam paths. An XLR cable being stripped, rewired, perfected. Those hands belonged to Jason "Red" Collins. And he was sober. 3 months after the night that should have finished him, Red was back. Not as a star. Not even as a performer. As a technician who'd found his way back to the only place that made sense, behind the music. Prince didn't speak publicly about it that night. No interviews. No Rolling Stone think pieces. But everyone who worked at Glam Slam knew the code after July 22. Everyone stumbles. Everyone catches. Red was living proof. On Red's first day back, Rita Valdez handed him a cable spool and a knowing look. Boss says you know your way around bass wiring. Prove it without the whiskey. He proved it. On weekends, Red would come early. He'd tune guitars nobody wanted. Fix feedback loops that hadn't manifested yet. The work wasn't glamorous. It was exactly what he needed. Prince didn't treat him like a rescue project. Didn't hover, didn't preach. When their paths crossed backstage, he'd nod. Once, maybe twice a month, a hand on Red's shoulder. Sounds clean tonight. Good work. It was enough. Red stayed at Glam Slam for 10 years. Through roster changes. Through the club's golden age and quieter seasons. Through his own quiet reconstruction, Tuesday morning AA meetings, a studio apartment he could actually afford, phone calls with his sister that didn't end in silence. He became the guy young musicians sought out. Who could explain why their signals were fuzzy? Who could solder a connection that would last 10 years, not one that would fail in 10 shows? You're good at this, a kid with blue hair and dreams once said. Red smiled. Forgot for a while. Someone reminded me. He never became famous. His name never appeared in album credits. But if you walked into any studio in Minneapolis between 1991 and 2001, people knew Red. Not as the drunk heckler. As the technician who found his stage. In 2001, a local Minneapolis radio station did a retrospective, Glam Slam Nights, Stories Behind the Purple Curtain. They found Red. Asked about that night. His answer would crystallize what really happened on July 22, 1991. Host, rumor has it you heckled Prince and he brought you on stage. What was that like? Red's voice, 10 years sober, carried a warmth that wasn't there that July night. That night, Prince didn't just humiliate me. He saved me. He pulled me back on stage. Not his stage. Life's stage. Pause. Purple Rain played softly in the background. I was going to walk into traffic after that show. Instead, I walked into a second chance. But here's what most people don't know about that night in 1991. What Prince saw in Red wasn't just a drunk heckler. It was a mirror reflecting his own worst fear. By 1991, Prince had been at war with Warner Brothers for 3 years. For ownership. For control. For the right to decide when and how his voice reached the world. There's a note in the Paisley Park archives, found years later, dated June 1991, 1 month before the Red incident. What happens when they stop listening? When the spotlight goes dark and all you hear is your own echo? Prince wasn't afraid of irrelevance. He was afraid of invisibility. Of becoming a symbol that suffocated the man. When Red screamed, "Nobody hears me anymore," Prince heard his own future. And he stopped it the only way he knew how, by making sure Red kept being heard. 1988, 3 years before Red. Prince was the biggest star in the world and the most imprisoned. Warner Brothers owned his masters. The name Prince. His symbol. Everything except the part that mattered, his voice. There's a story from that year. Not in Rolling Stone. Not on MTV News. The kind told only in green rooms after the third drink. Prince, alone in Paisley Park's Studio A at 4 a.m., listening on the speakers as executives told him which songs would be on the next album. His songs. Their decision. Years later, that studio engineer said, "I thought about knocking." But what do you say? What do you do when you realize even Prince can drown? On July 22, 1991, when Prince saw Red Collins screaming on the club floor, maybe he wasn't rescuing a stranger. Maybe he was rescuing the man he'd been in 1988. The man sitting at a piano at 4 a.m., wondering if he'd be remembered as a human. By saving Red, Prince saved himself from the thing he feared most, becoming someone who stopped seeing people. On April 21, 2016, Prince died. 25 years after the night he saved Red. Alone in an elevator at Paisley Park. Fentanyl in his system. Headline screaming opioid crisis. The world mourned a legend. Red mourned a man. Jason Collins gave the Minneapolis Star-Tribune a single statement. Prince taught me that stages aren't just for stars. They're for anyone with the courage to stand on them. I wish I could have taught him the same lesson. That even legends sometimes need catching. Remember that guitar he handed to Red? The one full of scratches that spelled stories nobody knew? After that night, Prince signed it. Not on the body that was already full of history. On the back of the headstock, in silver Sharpie. Red, you found your stage. P. Red kept it. Not on a wall. In a box under his bed. The kind of sacred you don't display. The kind you protect. In 2019, Red opened a small music shop in Red Wing, Minnesota. Second Stage Music Repair. On the wall behind the counter, a framed photo of that guitar. Not the guitar itself. Just the photo. If you lean close enough, you can see the signature. Customers ask. Red smiles. The night I learned that falling isn't the end. Just intermission. Today, if you pass through Red Wing, Minnesota, you might see a small shop on 3rd Street. Hand-painted sign. Second Stage Music Repair. Walk in. You'll smell soldering iron smoke and old guitar cases. You'll see Jason Red Collins in his 60s, that red hair streaked with white, reading glasses perched on his nose. He'll fix your cable. Clean your signal. And if you ask about the framed photo behind the counter, he'll tell you a story. Last week, a kid came in. College age. Bass guitar with a loose jack. "You're good at this," the kid said, watching Red solder. Red smiled. The same smile every time. Took me a while to remember. Someone once told me, stages aren't just spotlights. Sometimes a stage is helping someone else find theirs. July 22, 1991 isn't in the history books. No Wikipedia page. No MTV documentary. But in Minneapolis, musicians still tell the story. They call it the intervention show. The night Prince stopped being just a star and became something more important, a mirror. Ego creates stars. Empathy creates legends. Prince taught the world music. That night he taught one man mercy. And maybe in the process, he learned something himself. The best performances aren't the ones that make you famous. They're the ones that make you human. In that shop in Red Wing, Purple Rain plays softly from a refurbished stereo. Red leans over a workbench, repairing a young woman's guitar strap. His hands steady. His purpose clear. Above him, that framed photo. Prince's signature catching the afternoon light. Red, you found your stage. Maybe you've been on a stage. Maybe you've watched from backstage. Maybe you're Red, looking for your second chance. Maybe you're Prince, trying to remember what it means to see people. Either way, this story isn't just about one night in Minneapolis. It's about the moment you realize everyone falls. And the only question that matters, will you catch someone? Or will you wait to be caught? The answer Red learned is simple. You do both. Jason Red Collins still works at Second Stage Music Repair. If you visit, tell him you heard the story. He'll smile. And maybe, if the shop is quiet, he'll tell you what happened after the embrace. That's a story for another time. Some people are born into the spotlight. Others live by carrying the light for someone else. Red spent years among cables, invisible labor shaping the music of others. Prince stood at the very center of the stage, in the heart of the lights. Yet that night, they both encountered the same truth: no one is truly complete without being seen. Maybe, as you watch this, you are backstage in your own life. Maybe you've been perfecting someone else's stage, lighting someone else's spotlight, but no one has ever asked, "Are you okay?" Maybe, like Red, you feel the urge to scream, "Someone, hear me." That's why this isn't just a story, it's a reminder and a call to action. See someone. Notice a friend quietly struggling, a coworker losing themselves, or anyone who says, "I'm fine," while clearly not being fine. Send a message. Invite them for coffee. A small gesture can shine a stage light brighter than any spotlight. Create your own stage. It doesn't have to be a big achievement. Pick up that instrument you've left untouched, write that story, start that blog, or simply say, "I am here." Don't wait until you feel ready, stages only appear when you step onto them. Claim your name. Like Prince fought to reclaim his, make your presence known. Sign your work, leave a note, record your voice, write it down. Make sure your existence is remembered. Because in the end, we all either hold someone up or wait to be held. Sometimes both happen in the same day. Life is about extending a hand and letting someone extend theirs to you. And now it's your turn. While watching this video, think about it: who have you noticed? Who do you want to bring to the stage? Share it in the comments. Your story might be someone else's light. If this story moved you, hit the like button so it can reach more people. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss more stories like this. Because stages don't shine from lights alone, they shine through shared stories and the courage to step up. You can be the light. You can hold the hand. You can start your stage.